Coronation Street is set for another emotional and intense week as Steve McDonald, Simon Gregson, finds himself consumed with guilt after failing to be there for his daughter, Amy Barlow, Ella Mulvaney, when she needed him most. Amy is left deeply shaken after an unexpected encounter forces her to relive the trauma of her past. Meanwhile, Steve's reckless actions lead him down a path of deception as he attempts to cover up the real reason he was unavailable when Amy desperately tried to reach him. With secrets, emotional turmoil, and shocking consequences ahead, Coronation Street viewers are in for an unforgettable week. Amy's world is turned upside down in next week's episodes when she attends a party, only to come face to face with a man who represents one of the darkest chapters of her life. Eric Sanford, Craig Cheatham. The father of her rapist, Aaron Sanford, James Craven. Fans will remember that Amy was at the center of a powerful consent storyline in 2023, when Aaron raped her following a night of drinking. Despite Amy's distress, Aaron refused to acknowledge his wrongdoing, insisting that the encounter had been consensual. As time passed, Aaron began to realize the truth about what he had done. However, rather than facing justice, he and his abusive father Eric fled Weatherfield, leaving Amy to deal with the emotional aftermath alone. Now, with Eric suddenly back on the scene, Amy is forced to confront painful memories she has worked so hard to move past. The encounter leaves her shaken and vulnerable, setting off a chain of events that will have devastating consequences. Following her harrowing run-in with Eric, Amy's night takes a turn for the worse. When she fails to return home, her mother, Tracy Barlow, Kate Ford, becomes increasingly concerned. Desperate for answers, Tracy tries to get in touch with Amy, but her calls go unanswered. Steve, however, brushes off her concerns, reasoning that Amy must have spent the night at the party. But when Amy finally returns home, the truth of her night is far more worrying than anyone could have anticipated. Shaken and exhausted, she explains to her parents that she left multiple messages but was unable to reach them because her phone died. To make matters worse, she lost her car keys and was forced to spend the night wandering the streets alone. Amy's words leave Tracy horrified. But for Steve, the guilt is overwhelming because he knows exactly why he didn't answer her calls. Unwilling to admit the real reason he ignored Amy's messages, Steve quickly lies to Tracy, claiming that he had an early night and simply didn't hear his phone. Viewers already know that Steve spent the evening with his ex, Leanne Battersby, Jane Danson. The former couple, reminiscing over old times, shared a bottle of wine and indulged in nostalgia. However, their trip down memory lane soon turned passionate when Leanne leaned in for a kiss, and Steve eagerly reciprocated. What started as an innocent conversation quickly escalated, and before long, the pair were in bed together, completely oblivious to Amy's 5 desperate calls for help. Now, as the weight of his actions sinks in, Steve is left grappling with the crushing realization that his negligence put Amy in danger. Steve's betrayal isn't just about what happened with Leanne. It's about the fact that his lapse in judgment meant he wasn't there for Amy when she needed him the most. As he watches his daughter struggle with the trauma of her encounter with Eric, his guilt threatens to consume him. But will he come clean to Tracy about his night with Leanne? Or will he continue to lie, burying his guilt and hoping the truth never comes out? The stakes are high, and the consequences of Steve's deception could be catastrophic, not just for his relationship with Tracy, but for Amy, who already feels abandoned and let down by those closest to her. Amy has already endured more than most young women her age, and this latest ordeal only adds to her suffering. Despite her best efforts to move on from what Aaron did to her, the unexpected appearance of his father has reopened old wounds, leaving her struggling to cope. The question remains, will Amy find the support she needs to work through her trauma? Or will Steve's lies and guilt only serve to push her further away? Tracy's fierce protectiveness over her daughter means she won't let this go easily. If she senses that Steve is hiding something, it could spell the end of their already fragile relationship. With emotions running high and secrets threatening to unravel, Next week's Coronation Street episodes are set to be filled with tension, drama, and heartbreaking revelations. Will Amy be able to process her traumatic experience without the support of her father? Will Steve's lies catch up with him? And could his one-night stand with Leanne lead to an even bigger fallout than he ever imagined?